almost didn't create this video because it's like, send your kid to daycare or not. Why do I care? So we may be sending Grayson to daycare. And I know that is not a groundbreaking sentence. And if I'm being honest, 2 years ago, it wasn't groundbreaking for me either. I was working a corporate job, going into the office every single day. At 5 months pregnant, I already knew which daycare Grayson was going to go to. But then he was born 2 months early, was placed in the NICU, in a pandemic. I was working from home, and all of the thoughts about daycare exited my mind. It was no longer an option. But now I think we're at a point where we're ready to transition. So I decided to share this video because there might be another mama out there who's having to make this same transition or this same decision. And it's gonna look different for everyone's family, but I wanted to share my thoughts on the topic. So this video is gonna be broken up into 3 parts. First, I wanna talk you through our childcare journey and how we went from Grayson being at home with me full time to potentially sending him to daycare. Then we'll talk through the pros and cons of his current situation. And then I want to end with a message to my mamas and any parent who has to make this decision for their child. So after having Grayson, I got 5 months maternity leave, which I'm so grateful for because I know some women don't get nearly as much time at home with their baby. And after maternity leave, I decided to work from home and keep Grayson with me. And it was good because I got some additional cuddles and snuggles, and we really got additional bonding time together. So it was great until it wasn't. As he got more mobile and got louder and got more demanding, it became increasingly hard to do my 9 to 5 and keep him alive. I mean, because he really demanded all of my attention. And so at that point, I decided it was going to be best for me to hire a nanny. So I had someone come in Monday through Friday for about 5 hours of my busiest time of day so I could take meetings and get work done while she kept Grayson calm and content. And I like that setup because I could still go in and feed him from time to time, rock him to sleep, feed him a bottle, and still bond with him, but get my work done when I needed to. And that worked out great. I unfortunately had to part ways with that nanny, but we brought in someone else who could stay even longer. So she came into the house about 6.5, 7 hours for the day, and watched Grayson throughout the entirety of the day. And again, I still got to bond with him, still got to come in here and give him a hug during the day, and it was really, really good, and I think we both appreciated it. After 2 weeks of having the new nanny, she asked if I would be comfortable with her taking Grayson into her home due to personal reasons, just for a few weeks, and then after those weeks were up, they would come back and she would nanny at our house. Grayson loved her. They had a great connection, great rapport, and so I was like, that's fine. We'll come back into my place in a few weeks. But after I started sending him to her house, something magical happened. There was peace. There was quiet. There was no noise. And finally, for the first time since becoming a mom, I was able to get some work done. After the few weeks were up, we decided that we would continue to drop Grayson off at her house and nanny from there, just so we could have some alone time. And this did 2 things really. It helped with the attachment issues that we had developed because I had been with Grayson every single day of his life. And then it also allowed me to fill up my cup so that I had the energy and strength to pour into my family through the day-to-day. So that is our current situation today. Grayson goes to the nanny's house each day and stays there for about 8 hours. She also has a son, so he does have a friend there that he plays with every day. But we're at a point where we think he could benefit from a little bit more structure and curriculum, which brings me to point 2, the pros and cons of where he is today versus daycare. So starting off with the nanny, the first pro is that she's like family. Not only is Grayson very familiar with her, but our entire family is as well. Grayson lights up when I say, let's go to Miss Anna's house, and he's always smiling and never ready to leave when I go and pick him up. So I know he really enjoys his time there, which kind of brings me to our second point, in that he gets a lot of one-on-one time and attention. She is an extension of our family, and she treats Grayson like a son of her own. So because there's not a lot of kids there, he gets all of the attention that he very much so wants. Lastly, it's just more flexible. At daycare, you have a hard pickup time and drop off time. I was reading through some material, and it's like if you don't pick your kid up after the set time, it's $1 for every minute you're late. And I mean, it's just crazy. With the nanny, it is more flexible. I've had times where I have to catch an early morning flight and we've dropped Grayson off at the house at 4 a.m. or we've had to pick him up later, and there's that flexibility in that you do not have with daycare. For the cons, first of all, it's more expensive to have a nanny for reasons you probably can already imagine. It's going to be a more custom experience to your child, and so you're paying for that. But that kind of leads me to con number 2, which is there is just less social interaction. He does have one friend there, but there's less social interaction because it's just you. So we think he could definitely benefit from having more of a social life and interacting with kids his age. And then also the adults, especially because he spent the first year of his life in this house in a bubble. So he already has some social hurdles he has to overcome, and daycare can probably help with that. So that kind of leads right into the daycare pros. Number 1 on the list is just social interaction and being able to have fun with kids and enjoy his peer group and learn and grow with them. I think there's so many benefits to that, and I think that he would actually enjoy it a lot. Grayson is a social butterfly. He just hasn't had the opportunity to spread his wings because he hasn't been anywhere. And I think that this transition into daycare would allow him to open up a little bit more. Also, there is a very strict curriculum. Every day is the same, so that gives some very tight structure. He knows what to expect, and it can be a repeatable process each day. And I think kids really strive on structure. We all do. So I think having that in his life would be very beneficial. And then lastly, it's cheaper. It's more affordable than having a nanny. Don't get me wrong, it's not crazy cheaper, but it is cheaper, and that's just something to keep in mind. There are a lot of great things and reasons to send him to daycare, but the cons are, first and foremost, it's germy. I've kept this little baby in a bubble, and you know, we go places, but we don't go a lot of places. Even in talking to his doctor, she's already mentally prepared me. She asked me if I'm prepared for him to get daycare nose, and I'm like, what's that? And she's like, when your baby is exposed to hundreds of germs a day, hundreds of germs per day, you can expect a runny nose pretty often. And so it's not like when you are in this bubble that you keep clean and sanitized. And it's gonna build up his immune system overall, but you have to deal with the snotty nose for now. That's one thing. But I think the biggest thing for me is just the change of scene. We have gotten in a routine of what we do today, and this is probably bigger for me than it even is Grayson, but taking him out of that routine and putting him into a very new and different environment and having him have to go through that uncomfortable transition. And I've talked to the daycare coordinator about this, and she has assured me that everyone in his class is a pandemic baby because they're all the same age, and that the babies usually thrive. It's the parents that's doing all the crying and huffing and puffing, and the babies are having a good time and enjoying themselves because they're happy to be around other kids. And so that's probably a me thing, but I'm putting it on a con list because it's still something that I have to mentally get over. But with that, they gave me so many resources. When I tell you I'm reading that parent essential guide like the Bible, I am literally reading it word by word, trying to figure out what his day looks like, what he's going to be going through, when he's going to be doing what, when. Like, I need to know all the things because I want to make sure that I'm ready. Grayson's probably going to be living his best life, and I'm going to be looking at the camera. There is a camera, luckily, that I can look at 24/7 to see what he has going on. And I think I will definitely be taking full advantage of that. I almost didn't create this video because it's like, send your kid to daycare or not. Why do I care? But after talking to some other mom friends, I realized that this is a tough decision that we all have to make, especially in the pandemic. So I wanted to share with you that whatever you decide is best for your child is what is best for your child. And best looks different for everyone. Ultimately, we've decided that daycare is best for Grayson, and he's going to be starting next week. So please keep us in your prayers. But when it comes to making your decision, you have to do your research, go with your gut, and find a solution that works for you all. That's all for today. But until next time, remember this. When you put your heart, hustle, and prayer towards anything, you really can accomplish everything. Until next time, bye-bye.